Last night, once again, Yasiel Puig all over the bases, knocked in a couple of runs, scored another after the heroics on Tuesday night. And then last night, Sonny Gray, 8 innings of 4-hit shutout baseball, fanning a career-high 12. And now the Reds are trying to make it 3 straight wins over the division-leading Milwaukee Brewers in the final game of this 4-game series. And we welcome you 4th of July baseball. The Milwaukee Brewers and the Cincinnati Reds from Great American Ballpark, 243 years young, the United States of America. Along with Chris Welsh and Jim Day, I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us. So the Redlegs now, Chris, are going into the final game of this series, trying to make it 3 of 4. And they have Luis Castillo on the mound.
Well, you know, playing day games have not always been the greatest thing for the Reds so far this year. And they've also been able to be a little bit lax on the games in which they've had a real chance to put their foot on the neck of the opposition and take 3 out of 4. But Luis Castillo on the mound today gives you a lot of hope. They've got a little momentum going, and they've got some offense going, and they've got their main man on the mound. Here's what he's done against the Brewers so far this year. This will be his 4th start. He had one extremely good start. The last couple not so good. So I'm wondering if he's got a little extra motivation on his way to the All-Star game after this ball game today.
And you look at his mound opponent, a 10-game winner so far this year, who throws a hard fastball.
Well, yeah, he's also got a pretty good slider as well. He gets a lot of strikeouts, and he came after the Reds his last time out and just averages about 96, 97 miles an hour on that fastball. Brandon Woodruff is a very hard thrower. It's a straight fastball, though, and if you get him to bring it down in the zone, you've got a chance to negotiate it. He throws a lot of strikes, nice, easy, repeatable delivery, and he's coming off a very good outing against Pittsburgh on Saturday. Guys putting it together here in a big way here in 2019.
All right, when we come back, we'll have our national anthem as we celebrate Independence Day in the USA.
Erica Calora, expect another warm afternoon for the Reds game. We are going to have the chance for a couple of showers and storms around for the first pitch. Better chances throughout the late afternoon, early evening. Not everybody sees the storms, but we still have the chance for a few of those popcorn variety showers and storms with temperatures topping out around 87 degrees today. Happy 4th, and let's go Reds.
And indeed, happy Independence Day to everyone out there. Luis Castillo goes to the hill for the Reds. His numbers against the Brewers in Milwaukee, not so good. But here at Great American Ballpark, as you check out our Elk and Elk storylines, numbers that you would hope for in his career versus the Brewers. 4 starts here at GABP versus the Brew Crew. 26 2/3 innings and a very nice 2.03 ERA. And how about the strikeout to walk ratio? 35 punch-outs, 8 walks. He hopes to duplicate that today as the Reds go for a series victory as we go upstairs to the boys that will call it. Tom Brenneman, Chris Welsh.
And, of course, Luis Castillo at 26 on his way to the All-Star game, selected by his peers, the team's lone National League All-Star, and the first Red starting pitcher to make an All-Star team since Johnny Cueto back in 2014.
I think this is a great matchup here today. You got both #1 pitchers on each team going. They're both hard fastball pitchers. In fact, they rank among the top 10 or so in the league as far as average velocity. The difference between the fastballs, though, I think is worth noting. Castillo's got a fastball that has a lot of run on it, and that's what makes him so difficult for left-handed hitters to hit, because that ball will look like it's coming right down the center of the plate, only to dart away from them. Same way it does his changeup, and if he's got his changeup going, it may be a very good day for the Reds here today.
All right, here we go. Reds trying to win the final 3 in this 4-game set. First pitch swinging on the ground from Grandal. 1 pitch and 1 out. Doesn't get any better than that. Take a look at Craig Counsell's starting lineup presented by Furniture Fair, and already with Grandal back in the lineup. He sat down last night. So too did Christian Yelich. Moustakis will bat third. Hira in the cleanup spot. Thames at first. Saladino starting left. A latter third of Gamble with Kane a day off, and RC at shortstop.
Boy, it had to be awfully difficult for Craig Counsell to give Christian Yelich a day off. I mean, after all, he hit home runs in the first 2 games here. He gave him the night off last night, and all the Brewers were able to muster off Sonny Gray were 4 singles.
And Yelich is hit with a fastball at 97 miles per hour somewhere on that right leg. Now, it's not a bad spot. It wasn't the knee and it wasn't right on the shin.
And it wasn't intentional. I mean, you've got to pitch this guy inside. The danger of missing your spot on Yelich, if you miss it inside, you hit him on the leg. If you miss it out over the plate, you're probably down 1-0. There's a big difference between pitching inside and missing your spot and hitting a batter and trying to hit the batter. I don't see how anybody can ever want a pitcher to hit a batter intentionally.
So here's Moustakas, like Yelich, like Grandal, like Josh Hader. 4 Brewers headed to the All-Star game. There's a fly ball that will send Senzel short of the track. How about that? We've got 3 pitches in this game. A ground out, a hit batter, and now a fly ball out. Reds on defense. Senzel back in the starting lineup. And Dietrich, after the groin injury, the other groin, not the one that kept Scooter out the first 2.5 months of the year, but the other side. And so Dietrich is in there at second base, and a rare off day for Iglesias. Peraza starts at shortstop. I would imagine we will see Peraza. And Jim Day, we'll check in with you on this topic, because I know you had a chance to hang out with Scooter Gennett. And would you not be surprised if we don't see him again between now and after the All-Star break?
Well, I wouldn't be shocked if you didn't, but the news was better on him today. He was a lot less sore than they expected. He said he just kind of felt a little twinge in there, and it wasn't as if he pulled it. It was a precautionary measure of taking him out last night. He said he felt a lot better today than he expected. So we'll see with an off day tomorrow. But you're right. They with the All-Star break coming up, they'll try to keep him out and get him fully healthy.
Runner takes off, throw down to second base, and that ball hit Yelich on the bounce. So he's been hitting the right leg, and he may have been hit up around his shoulder area. And that is his 19th stolen base in 20 attempts this year.
Well, he picks his spots. He's fast. He's got big, long strides once he gets going. And just an exceptional all-around athlete is Christian Yelich. You know, and on the other side, Castillo is a little bit deliberate to the plate. He doesn't really mix in a slide step very much. The running game is not that important anymore. So if you get this batter out, the stolen base means nothing.
That ball looked like it hit him in the ear. He uses the one flap, obviously, to cover his right ear as a left-handed batter with the left ear exposed. I think this ball hit him in the ear. That's a painful start to this game for Christian Yelich. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Hira. Keston Hiura playing in his 24th game. He has 88 at bats, 6 home runs, 10 runs batted in. Three balls, 2 strikes on Hira. Got him swinging, and that'll retire the side. A hit batsman, a runner left in scoring position. And here come the Redlegs. Trying to jump in front early for Castillo of the first hit. And we take a look at David Bell's starting lineup presented by Furniture Fair. The Reds 40 wins, 44 losses. It'll be Winker again leading off, playing left field, followed by Votto and Suarez. Puig in a cleanup spot, Dietrich at second, and Senzel batting 6th. The latter third of Peraza, Castillo, Casali will bat 9th, and Been a big-time breakout year, his first full season in the majors as a starting pitcher for Brandon Woodruff.
He looks like a prototypical #1 draft pick who turns out to be an ace of the staff. He is not a #1 pick. We'll get into that later on, but he is their ace of the staff. 10 wins, 2 losses. Pitched against the Reds a couple of starts ago. Struck out 12 in 7 innings. And he pretty much plays Powder River, whereas Luis Castillo's second pitch is his changeup. A slider is the pitch of choice for Woodruff. He also throws a changeup, but only about 15–16% of the time.
This one will find the gap in right center field. An off-speed pitch, and Winker makes him pay with a double.
He sure does, and he got on that changeup that Woodruff really doesn't throw all that much. He may not even go back to it for a while now as Winker speeds his bat up and drives a gapper. Winker looked very frustrated last night. Hit the ball hard a couple of times, and it was right at the players on the right side of the infield. I'm not even going to call it a shift anymore, just a defensive alignment. When he comes up, that's the way they put their defense.
So now Joey Votto at 271, 8 home runs, 22 runs batted in, 1 for 3, drew a walk, scored a run last night. We've talked about the Reds in the first inning this year. They lead the major leagues in runs, in home runs, in batting average, in slugging percentage, and #1 in on base percentage. But we have seen many times before, like what we saw here on Tuesday night, where the Reds got 2 runs in the first inning and not even a sniff until a Puig home run in the 7th. They would come up big though in the 8th on the Votto double and then win it in the bottom of the 11th inning. And that went off the glove of the third baseman Moustakas. So the Reds get a break. Moustakas clearly thought either A, he had it or should have had it, and it goes as a base hit.
Looked like a little jam shot right there, but Votto clearly looking for something to go the other way. I think that's just over the top of Moustakas' reach right there, and Votto's able to swat that baby into left field. So 2 lefties, 2 base hits, 2 runners on base. Reds are cooking here in the first.
Reds with runners on the corners and Suarez a batter. 20 home runs, 54 runs batted in. He was 1 of 4 at a double in the 8th inning last night, a very important double in the 8th inning last night when the Reds got that 3rd and final run. Suarez had homered in each of the prior 3 games, hitting 4 in the 3 games.
I went back and looked at the game that the Reds had against Woodruff on the 23rd, and he's a guy that when the Reds got their base hits off of him, those pitches were waist high or lower. Anything above the waist, that fastball, even though it's straight, it has a lot of pop and a lot of carry. Tough to get on top of, and that's where Grandal wants it. So you know, playing your youth league games, whether you're coaching or whether you remember playing, and your coach tells the kids, get it down, make sure he brings it down. I mean, that's got to be the thing that Turner Ward has told his guys today against Woodruff.
Now that fastball was a little bit lower than the prior 2, one that Suarez chased, another that he did not. But each of those last heaters from Woodruff at 97 miles per hour. Winker, the runner at 3rd.
He's just warming up.
Votto at 1st. Nobody out. Take a look at that.
Now this is a guy who comes right after you. When he gets 2 strikes on you, he's not messing around. 3rd highest rate in Major League Baseball as far as throwing strikes when he has 2 strikes.
Started to, was able to lay. Oh boy, he got rung up by the first base umpire, John Lipka. First out of the inning.
You be the judge right here. Not quite the look that Lipka has, but Lipka's right down there behind the first base bag, and the question is, did he make an attempt to hit the ball? So hard when you have a guy dialing it up at 98 miles an hour, then he snaps off a slider on a perfect spot, and you try to hold up because you know you're not going to hit it anyway, and you go a couple inches too far and it appears like you made an attempt to hit it, and you go down on strikes.
All righty, so now it's Yasiel Puig, who's been right in the middle of everything for the better part of a month and a half. Has 19 home runs. Last night, hit number 19. He also added a single, scored a run in the 7th, and then knocked in a second run with a sac fly in the bottom of the 8th inning. Puig, a guy who has been susceptible to that high fastball frequently this year. But you get it down, and he's been killing those fastballs lately.
Right, he loves the fastball down. I mean, you get it down around the knee, maybe 2 or 3 inches above the knees. That's his wheelhouse. But everybody knows that. I mean, they've known that about Yasiel Puig for years now, and the Brewers are going to try to expose him with fastballs up and then tease him with sliders away.
Little dribbler. This is going to bring in a run. And Puig with an infield hit and an RBI to get the Reds on the board. 1-0. Talk about it all the time, Chris. Just put the ball in play. You never know.
That's exactly right. I was watching where Grandal set up here. He wanted that ball inside. They wanted to tie up Puig, and they did. But Puig was able to just get enough on the ball right there to keep it fair, and he runs so well. There's no play for Moustakas. Hey, when the Reds are rolling, why not roll right along with them? You put a run on the board early on, and now all of a sudden the Brewers are playing catch up.
All right, so now Dietrich, here's a guy the Reds need to get going again. I mean, I don't think anybody expects him to hit 17 home runs again over a 2-month time frame, but they'd like to see more of that. And Votto had to wait to see if that ball got through into right field, and he will advance just 90 feet.
He wasn't scoring on that ball anyway. Yep. It was hit so sharply. It looked maybe worse than it was because he didn't have much of a lead at second base, but first pitch hitting, Dietrich right on it. Tell you what, they're leveling the ball pretty well here off Woodruff. And Chris Hook is going to come out and talk to him a little bit. You know, the last time Woodruff pitched against the Reds, and he did the same thing against the Pirates, he threw that fastball very effectively right at the top of the zone. He's already missed way high a couple of times today. And that's as tough a spot to hit for a pitcher as it is right down around the knees. In his last game out against the Pirates, he had big time trouble in the first inning before the Pirates had a runner thrown out at the plate at home. Had Josh Bell thrown out at the plate, which ended the inning, or else it could have been a big inning for the Pirates and maybe a disaster for Woodruff. After that, he took control of the ball game, and you see what he did. 7 2/3 of one-run baseball.
All right, now Senzel with 1 in and the bases loaded. Only 1 out. Senzel, and to begin his major league career with runners in scoring position, look at those numbers. 13 of 30. 18 runs batted in those 30 trips to the plate. Able to lay off that high fastball, and now he's in a hitter's count at 2-0. Senzel came on after Scooter Gennett was injured last night. 0 for 2, struck out, bounced to third. 2 balls, 1 strike on Senzel with the bases loaded and a ground ball to third. There's one. Double play ends the inning. Reds get a run into 1-0 Cincinnati. Each and every one of you, and please have a happy, healthy holiday weekend. Stay safe. Reds get a run, but leave some runs out on the field with that double play ball which ended the inning off the bat of Senzel. So here's Eric Thames to be followed by Saladino and then Gamble. Well, I tell you what, this National League Central Division now. Here you have the Reds in 5th place in a 5-team division, and they are 4.5 games out of first. The last time an entire division was closer to first place than every other 2nd place team in the other divisions this late in the season. You've got to go back to September the 5th, 1995. The entire National League West was within 5.5 games. The closest 2nd place team that year in the other divisions, 6.5 back. It's just amazing. The Cubs lose again last night. They've lost 4 in a row. And there you see the National League Central Division standings on the left, and all the other divisions. Phillies, the closest at 5.5 out. And really, that's what baseball wants. That's what any sport wants. I mean, you want to get into the All-Star break where you have as many teams. I mean, whether you're talking about, you know, the Cubs, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Pirates, the Reds, all of their fan base, right, can all say, hey, we're in a game.
You're right.
We're 3 back. We're 3.5 back. We're 4.5 back.
And so it starts the speculation. So what is my front office going to do here at the trading deadline? You know, so they start watching baseball outside of Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and so on to see what players may be available, who would be a good fit. You know, play your own GM at home. I think that's part of the great drama as the summer stretches out.
Now, you can certainly make an argument, but when you look out in that National League West, for example, I mean, you might have Colorado 14 games behind the Dodgers, but they are very much in the thick of it, along with Arizona and San Diego in the wild card.
Yeah.
So you got some of that going on. And certainly Philadelphia and Washington within striking distance of Atlanta in the National League East. 10 pitch at bat and capped off by a strikeout. Second by Castillo. It's more pitches than he threw in the entire first inning.
Yeah, it looked like he finally polished them off with that was a changeup. I thought it was a slider from up here. And you know, when you get 2 strikes on you, you've got a 1 out of 2 chance that you're going to get a changeup from Castillo. But even if he tells you it's coming, there's no guarantee you're going to hit it hard. I mean, he gets so many swings and misses and so much weak contact on his off-speed pitches. There's the strikeout or the changeups with 2 strikes at 57% of the time.
Saladino picked up his first hit since the Brewers brought him up in his 8th game, his 15th at bat. And now 1 of 16 coming into play today and making 1 of 17. Back-to-back strikeouts in this inning, 3 in a row overall for Castillo. Now Ben Gamble in there, strike. Gamble's done a nice job. He's gotten a lot more playing time than you probably thought going into the year. On base percentage right around 350. He played left, center, right. Maybe not an everyday guy, but a nice piece of a team. And Castillo fans aside. Good morning, good afternoon, good night for Gamble. Castillo on his game early. Look at Milwaukee defensively, presented by Ford. Gamble flanked by Saladino and Christian Yelich. Arcia back in there at short. And Grandal back in there behind the plate. Reds 1, Brewers nothing. Latter third in the order. Peraza down a strike. The infrequently used Jose Peraza.
Well, more recently infrequently used. Earlier in the year he was getting a lot of playing time. And he's played a lot of different positions too, and I'm wondering if that's kind of messed with him a little bit. You know, sometimes second base, sometimes short, sometimes left. And you may say, well, at least he gets a play. But it's sometimes tough to get into a groove when you're not sure where and when, especially when you're expected to go out there and play some defense in a position where you're not normally, you know, used to playing, like in the outfield.
2-1 on Peraza, and he pulls that one foul. Now some might say, well, wait a minute now, you know, Chris Bryant does that stuff all the time. Baez used to do it all the time. But Chris, if I hear you right, I mean, the difference is when Bryant and Baez show up, they know they're going to play every single day. Peraza's in a situation now where, you know, I mean, he's being told by David Bell if he's going to be in the lineup a couple of days ahead of time, but he doesn't know day in and day out that he's going to get any playing time.
Yeah, and you can make the argument, well, Bryant and Baez have earned it. Everyday playing time, and they know where in the lineup they're going to be. And Peraza's been a situation where he's taken over for Brandon Phillips and then lost that job at second base. He's taken over for Zach Cozart, and he's lost that job as shortstop. This is an unapologetic game and career where, you know, it's what you've done for me lately, and you've got to get out there and get after it and put some numbers up and become a valuable player in order to be an everyday player. And if not, you can be a valuable player as a utility player. That's what they do like about Jose Peraza. He brings a lot of tools. He's got good arm. He's got good speed. He shows up and really cares about winning. You know, is he an everyday player on a championship team? I don't know. But he can certainly be a contributor on this ball club.
Luis Castillo. 3 hits and 31 at bats. His counterpart on the mound today can swing that bat. Man, oh man, you write down those numbers for Woodruff and you're like, are you kidding me? 12 hits already this year for Woodruff. Nothing in 2 on Castillo, and he looks at strike 3, and that's a second strikeout today for Woodruff. Reds baseball always live with MLB at Bat. Download the MLB at Bat today. It's your #1 app for the Cincinnati Reds. 2 down in the inning, and here is Curt Casale. He has started all but 1 game since Tucker Barnhart was placed on the disabled list. That 1 game was 2 nights ago when Kyle Farmer made his first start in a major league game behind the plate. Did a good job.
I thought he did a really good job back there. In fact, David Bell gave him a lot of compliments, and I think the best one was that if I wasn't looking for him being new, I would never notice that he was new behind the plate. Tanner Roark had a very good game on the mound, and they worked well together, and probably see him out there again real soon.
Reds will be off tomorrow. Very, very strange to not be playing on a Friday during the summer months, but the Reds will enjoy that. They have the big 150th anniversary celebration bash here tomorrow. So America's birthday today, Reds baseball's birthday tomorrow. Open free of charge to the public. You can go anywhere you want to go in and around a ballpark. Lots of things happen as Castillo has gone on strikes, and the Reds are done. 1-2-3.
I don't know how much fans are realized, but it really can give you that little burst that you need to get through a seventh or get through an eighth or get through a ninth inning. And that was I got an extra pep in my step when they were giving me a little love, and it was I was glad that I could do what I could to give it back.
Our IGS bringing the energy. Sonny Gray talking about the crowd last night, and the crowd was jacked. It's as loud as I've heard it in a while, and it's everything you look for. They were up and cheering for a pitcher beyond the 11th strikeout for free pizza at meaningful moments, and as he said, it made a difference. It pumped him up.
That's good stuff from Sonny Gray. Great stuff from the crowd that was here last night. It's another beautiful day here today. It's a warm one, make no mistake about that. We have played 2 innings, and the Reds with a 1-0 lead. Castillo back to the bump. They'll be facing 8-9-1 Arcia. Woodruff, don't take him for granted. We've talked about that already. That ball is in the air to right field. Will back up Puig to the track. Boy, Arcia's got some power that way if you leave it up and out over the plate. We've seen that in the past.
Well, it was an off-speed pitch, and I think that's what got him off the center of the bat just a little bit. He's got some power that way because he takes a big swing every time he hacks. I mean, he is going for it.
Many believe he is residing on a semi-permanent basis inside the manager's doghouse right now. Here's Woodruff. Told you 12 hits in 39 at bats, so a .308 batting average for a pitcher, and he has 4 doubles with 4 runs batted in. Sharply hit to Dietrich. Quickly 2 out. Castillo has thrown 32 pitches now to collect the first 8 outs of this game. Rondal bounced out to Votto, the very first pitch of this game. And 2 to Grandal. And into center field, and Castillo will pick him up and lay him down. That's 8 in a row retired. Back-to-back perfect innings. Reds lead 1-0. On a star-studded day from a United States Navy World War II veteran, Douglas Bickle, in attendance, a rousing standing ovation, celebrating 243 years since the birth of the United States of America. He's wearing the stars and stripes proudly, apparently unlike a shoemaker that's made major news across the country in the last 48 hours. Wonder what he would think about all that. Jesse Winker to lead things off here in the Cincinnati 3rd inning. Reds in front 1-0.
Be interesting to see if Woodruff decides to throw something off speed to Winker here in this at bat. First two pitches have been fastballs, but that's what Winker was able to level into the right center field gap, was an off speed pitch. It looked like that Woodruff tried to fool him, and Winker laid the head to it.
And he lays off that high fastball. See if he can make him get it again down where he likes it, as Chris points out. Had a good cut on a fastball pretty much right in the middle of the plate. It's a big game for the Reds. I mean, the difference between a win and a loss, 5.5 games out of first compared to 3.5 games if you can win this game here today. It's not one of those games where the Brewers are going in tied with somebody where you can't pick up any ground. The Brewers have the 1-game advantage, and Winker a perfect 2 out of 2.
Well, he saw all fastballs in this at bat and got a base hit on this one. But again, this is where, as I mentioned earlier, the Reds hits that they got off Woodruff their last time were right down there, you know, somewhere between the knees and the waist. And his fastball's good, but 97 is hitting speed when you get it down around thigh high.
So now Joey Votto, he singled off the very tip of Moustakas' glove into left field, which helps set up the eventual run the Reds would score, and that made him 6 out of 7 in his career against this Milwaukee pitcher, Brandon Woodruff. And fouled out of play. Ball and 1 strike on Votto. Started 2 and took a strike on the outside corner. And that ball drilled into left center field and caught in front of the wall out there by Saladino. Hard hit ball by Votto, but a long, loud out. Of course, the early part of next week, baseball's 2 biggest events of the summer, back-to-back nights. A T-Mobile Home Run Derby on ESPN Monday, July 8th, 8 o'clock Eastern, and then the 90th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard. That'll be July the 9th. On Fox. Coverage will begin at 7:30 Eastern, and for those of you here in the greater Cincinnati area, that game will be on Fox 19. Strike 1 to Eugenio Suarez. Beautiful day this 4th of July. Reds and the Brewers wrapping up this 4-game series. Milwaukee won the first one. Tough loss for the Reds that night. They had a lead, you may recall, going into the Milwaukee 7th inning, but the Brewers scored 3 in that inning. They got 3 more off the Reds bullpen late in the game. 5 runs in the 7th inning, got 2 more in the 9th off Stevenson, and cruised to an 8-6 win. But the Reds have won each of the last 2 nights. Two balls, 2 strikes on Eugenio Suarez. Struck him out on a high fastball at 96 miles per hour. 4 of those now for Woodruff. Today's stats with Lowe's, you go back to the middle of June and look who has more home runs than any player in the National League. Just ahead of his old teammate Cody Bellinger would be Yasiel Puig. Of course, his numbers in the month of June, the entire month of June, were just off the charts. First time his bats really come alive with any consistency the whole year long. Puig has homered each of the last 2 games of this series. That one last night, just a laser. Bouncing ball played nicely by Arcia with some top spin on that. Fielder's choice will end the inning. Reds lead at the end of 3, 1-0. Thank you, Specialist Taylor. Happy 4th of July to all. We played 3 on this 4th of July Thursday afternoon, and the Reds with a 1-0 lead. 2, 3, and 4, the big hitters in this lineup against Castillo. He's retired 8 in a row since hitting this batter, Christian Yelich, the only Milwaukee base runner of the game so far. Since joining the Brewers, Yelich has played 23 games against the Reds, and they're going to get him out this time. He's been better than a .400 batter with 11 home runs, 9 doubles, and 2 triples in 23 games against the Reds. Good stuff out there. Puig and Dietrich both up for having a little fun out there. Why not? Look at that special eye block on here today. I have a hard time seeing it. Red, white, and blue instead of the normal black. It's cool stuff. Takis, we mentioned, will be going to the All-Star game. He has 24 home runs and 52 runs batted in. He was a good player for the Brewers when he came over. He maybe didn't, Chris, turn out to be everything they hoped for, and then they juggled in positions to begin this year, but he's playing now like the player they thought they were getting from Kansas City.
I think he was a huge boost to them last year. And I think what they've come to the conclusion this year, and I think there are a lot of teams out there that are going to try to, especially in this division, to try to get better at the trade deadline. The Brewers are definitely going to make some moves, but they'll probably make moves in the pitching rather than in their everyday players, because I don't think they can duplicate a move like they have with Moustakas. What a great change up there.
That's 5 strikeouts now in the game for Castillo.
We say that an awful lot when Castillo takes him out. I mean, what a great changeup.
Yep.
I mean, the two components, really the 3 components of that changeup for Castillo all rate off the charts. Number 1 is the deception. He makes it look like a fastball coming, and his fastball is very fast at 97. The second component is the change in speeds, and he takes about 10 miles an hour off that pitch, which is a great separation between fastball and changeup. And the third, this is where not a lot of pitchers have that third dimension, and that's the movement on that changeup. It just looks like it's coming right down the center of the plate and then tails off, and sometimes it'll be off the plate by 4 or 5 inches. Just tremendous movement.
1-1 to Hira. Got it way out in front.
Been such an important pitch for Castillo this year that he has 30 more strikeouts on that changeup than the closest other changeup pitcher, or number of strikeouts a pitcher has on a changeup.
Well, you saw the 5th name on that list, who's healthy and throwing the ball so well, is Strasburg. I mean, he's 5th with a changeup. Where do you think he is with a fastball?
He struck out what, 14 last night?
Two and 2 on Hira. Well, how about that Dodger game yesterday? We were talking about Bellinger. They won for the 4th consecutive time in walk-off fashion, did the Dodgers. Cody Bellinger hit a long home run early in the game, and then in the bottom of the 9th inning, or extra innings, hit a huge home run. They're still looking for that ball. Dodgers beating Arizona 5-4. Dodgers are 30 games over 500. And that pitch makes contact with Hira. Second hit batter in the game by Castillo. And then it got a big piece of Sally, knocked his mask clean off. Eric Thames struck out his first time up. That ends a string of 10 in a row. Retired by Luis Castillo since he hit Yelich in the opening inning. Straight up in the air. Senzel, Winker, Senzel, inning over. 1 left after 3.5. Castillo is not allowed to hit nor run. Reds lead 1-0.
Bellinger walk-off home run last night set the Dodgers record for most home runs, 29, prior to the All-Star break.
And Jim, the key to that is it's the Dodgers record, not the Los Angeles Dodgers record, because a lot of times you'll read about Dodgers, Brooklyn versus LA, that kind of thing. That broke, if I'm not mistaken, the record that was shared by Duke Snyder and I think Gus Hodges. I mean, you're talking about big leaguers there now. Duke Snyder, Mickey and the Duke. Remember that song? Willie, Mickey, and the Duke. Can't sing it anymore. We owe an attorney some money somewhere. Of course, that's tip money for you, Jim Day.
Yeah.
Dodgers have 10 walk-off wins this season, including each of the last 4 games. 0-2 on Derek Dietrich. He had a base hit into right field his first time up. Broken bat. And Hira will throw out the hustling Dietrich up the line for the first out here in the 4th. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky at Miami Valley Gaming.
lot of folks trying to find some shade here today. Jim Day, of course, has been down next to the Reds dugout the entire game, and just now himself, like many of those, looking for a little shade. He said it is without a doubt the warmest game at Great American Ballpark this year, and a base hit by Senzel into right field with one out here in the fourth.
Well, the Reds are counting up ready to swing the bat. They expect fastballs early in the count from Woodruff. They're getting them, and when he gets it down, and that's down for him right around waist level, good nice level swing by Senzel to meet that ball and greet it into right field.
Well, let's see if Senzel had a hearty lead over there. He has 8 steals in 11 attempts, and here's Peraza. And we saw David Bell last night. Infrequently has he tried to hit and run this year, but this might be a combination here to think about it. Although you do have the pitcher Castillo coming up next, and already one out in the inning. But Peraza generally is a guy who does put the ball in play and rarely strikes out. Nobody out, probably a good bet. One out, we'll see.
Well, you might try it just to stay out of the double play, so you make sure that you get the pitcher up to bat in this inning.
Woodruff keeping an eye on Senzel. He's not running, and a 2-0 pitch popped up. So you're going to clear the pitcher here with 2 away in the inning. I mean, take a look at these numbers. 7 starts, but they're scoring you a ton of runs, over 8 per game inside the Central Division when Woodruff starts. Oh, and 1 on Castillo. And now 0-2. And I want to thank my good buddy Greg Schulte, the longtime radio voice of the Arizona Diamondbacks. He reminds me, Chris, that the Dodgers have actually won their last 5 games in walk-off fashion. I thought it was 4. They beat Colorado 3 in a row, and now they've beaten Arizona 2 in a row. So 5 straight. Broken bat roller to second, and the inning is over. End of 4. Reds in front, 1-0.
Reading about a book. Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. That I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for. Thank you.
80 years ago today, probably the most famous speech in baseball history. Let's check out our Geico Reds historical moment. Let's take you back to July 4th, 1969. The nickname The Big Red Machine appeared in print for the first time in an article written by Los Angeles Herald-Examiner reporter Bob Hunter after the Reds had defeated the Dodgers the night before, and boy, did that name ever stick.
Huh. You're right about that. Did it ever? We're talking about 6 teams having the day off on the 4th of July. It's just so strange. Giants, Arizona, Colorado, the New York Mets, the Houston Astros, Baltimore Orioles, all off on the 4th of July. In fact, the Giants were not only off today, they were off on Memorial Day. Go figure that one. That's a fair ball off the bat of Saladino.
Well, a lot of easy outs in the lineup so far for Castillo today. I mean, they have not really hit the ball all that hard. He's had a lot of first and second pitch outs. It's one of these days where, like last night, where Sonny Gray kept his pitch count well under control. That's one reason he went so deep into the ball game, gave the Reds 8. And Castillo kind of on that same pace, only 56 so far here, with 1 out in the 5th.
And another easy play. Ball off the end of the bat. And Castillo throws out Gamble. So a catcher put out, a pitcher put out to begin this inning. Coming up Saturday, July the 20th, Reds and the Cardinals will be here. That'll be a big series. First 20,000 fans through the gates get an Eugenio Suarez Funko Pop. Plus 500 lucky fans will receive a gold Funko Pop. Visit Reds.com/150 for more ticket information. Reds will be on the road immediately after the All-Star break. And they will go to Mile High altitude coming out of the break against those Colorado Rockies. And then the Reds will have an important series in Chicago. How about that? A 6-pitch inning. Catcher put out, pitcher put out, pitcher put out. Easy to place your order online and pick it up at the store. Try it today at Kroger.com and buy Gilkey Window, family owned since 1978. Love that Ferris wheel. Looks like it's going to be around for a long time now.
Yeah, did you get a chance to get up?
I didn't get in. By the time I got over there the other night for our daughter Ella's 16th birthday, had a bunch of her friends. My wife Polly, our son Luke, they had already gone around and were getting off.
Yeah.
By the time I got there after the game. That looks like a pretty nice way to spend the day, doesn't it?
Indeed.
You've always considered yourself a man of the high seas. All the fishing you've done through the years.
I'd like to have one of those. That might be air conditioned on the inside there, you know
well,
that?
you can book that. 1-0 ball game, just as we thought we might be in store for it today. Of course, sometimes you just never know. The great pitching matchups turn into a 8-7 game, but so far today, the aces of these respective teams, Castillo and Woodruff, locked in a 1-1 or 1-0 game.
Woodruff this year, anyway, has had the reputation of, giving it up a little bit in the first inning and then really settling down, and he seems to have done that. His breaking stuff is much tighter now than it was in the first inning. Gave up base hits to the first 2 batters he faced, and the Reds really had a chance to score a bunch of runs in that inning. They ended it with a double play ball, and they only were able to pick up 1.
Casale struck out his first time up. Woodruff has not walked a batter. He's fanned 4, allowed a run on 6 hits. Reds had 4 hits through the first 5 batters of this game, but Woodruff able to induce a double play ball with the bases loaded and 1 out against Senzel. And the Reds would only get 1 run on an infield single to drive in a run by Puig. The Reds have only had 2 since then. Winker a single leading off the 3rd inning, and Senzel a 1-out single in the 4th.
I imagine that Curt Casale is one who is especially appreciative of the off day tomorrow.
No doubt.
He's been catching a lot, of course, since Tucker Barnhart went on the injured list. It's all gone on to Casale until the other night when Kyle Farmer caught his first game of the year.
Reds off tomorrow, then the Cleveland Indians on Saturday afternoon and Sunday afternoon. Final 2 games before the break. Saturday they'll be giving away those t-shirts. We're going to give you a sneak peek at one of those in the 6th inning today. Still trying to find out if our bosses, Chris, are going to wear. And, you know, I should have asked you before I even said that on the air yesterday. You okay with wearing a T-shirt if they'll let us tomorrow?
You know, Tom,
Saturday?
As a self-anointed director of broadcasting, I'll do whatever you decide to do.
Self-anointed? Self-anointed?
Oh, did somebody actually give you that title?
No, they did not.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought.
Gone swinging Castillo. And that's the way it starts here in the 5th inning.
Yes, it does.
Reds a home run off that Toyota sign today. Matthew Butler. Hillsboro, pretty country out there. We'll win that Tundra thanks to your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Down the right field line over there. And it's been a good day for Winker. A double to right center, scored the only run of the game, and then a single to center field his last time up. And Winker a third base hit. So after the frustrating night, as we pointed out earlier, for Winker here last night, those line drives are sailing above the heads of these Brewers.
Yeah, they sound pretty good coming off the bat, and he hits. They now had 3 hits, one on a changeup, one on a fastball, this one on a slider that Woodruff kind of hangs up there a little bit, and just a nice smooth swing by Jesse Winker.
Alrighty, so now Votto with 1 on and 1 out. Votto a single to left field and a check swing roller, and the only out they'll get if they get one at all, and they do get the out at first base.
Now, I think the fact that he made contact really surprised him right here. This is the play from the defensive standpoint. Moustakas comes over, and Votto looked like he slowed down right there. I don't know if he would have had the timing perfectly, but you know, he runs hard out of the box, and then when he sees the throw coming, he kind of slows down. And you know, it just gives a lesson to every young player out there. It doesn't cost anything to run through the bag. In fact, sometimes it's the only thing you can control on the entire diamond is the level of your hustle.
All right, runner in scoring position for Suarez, who has struck out swinging twice against Woodruff today. Ball and 1 strike on Eugenio Suarez. And a high fly ball into right center field. They had him shaded that way. We played 5 and a 1-0 Cincinnati lead. Receive the Ohio Cup t-shirt thanks to Fox Sports Ohio. And we have these t-shirts, Chris, right here. Take a look at these babies. The Natty versus the Land.
That's the front. This is the back.
How nice is that?
Yeah, they're nice.
They are. I'm hoping we're wearing these babies.
Yeah.
They even got the Frank Robinson.
I like that.
And how nice is that? And of course, that has special meaning for both the franchises. Robinson is a great player when he first came to the big leagues, and then later became the first ever African-American manager of a Major League Baseball team, and that team was the Cleveland Indians. That's nice.
Great tie-in.
It really is. That's really, really nice. So Castillo comes rolling into the 6th inning where he'll face the pitcher. And then the top of the order in Grandal and Yelich. And gone swinging is Woodruff. And that's now 6 strikeouts in the game for Castillo. He's hit 2 batters, and those are the only 2 base runners for Milwaukee. It's the second time this year Castillo has gone into the 6th inning of a game without allowing a hit. He did on the 5th of May against the Giants, but then you may remember he gave up 4 runs in the 6th inning. Highlighted or lowlighted by that 3-run home run by Buster Posey.
You know, every championship caliber team out there is always, if they don't have one, they're looking for a great 1-2 punch in the top of their rotation. You know, and after Sonny Gray put the performance together last night that he did, where he struck out 12 in 8 innings, you know, you see Castillo, who's very capable of, you know, doing this almost every time out, but he's looks like he's just ratcheted it up his game just a little bit after seeing what Gray did, and of course getting ready for a trip to Cleveland for the All-Star game. That internal competition is the best motivator going.
Wanted that call, didn't get it. Grandal today is bounced to first and fly to center. And gone swinging Grandal. That makes it 7 strikeouts for Luis Castillo and 2 down in the inning.
I guess what he just blazes the fastball right by him. Look at the spin on that fastball. I think that's very interesting because that's a 4-seam fastball, but it looks like it just spins sideways. And that's why he gets such movement. A lot of 4-seam fastballs by overhand pitchers, and Brandon Woodruff is a great example. Is a guy that has backspin on the ball where it doesn't sink, so it gives the hitter the feeling that the ball is actually rising. But with Castillo, because he's on the side of the baseball, has some spin, a lot of spin, but it'll run sideways rather than kind of move up. Same direction as his changeup.
Here's Yelich, who was hit by a pitch in the 1st inning, just below the right knee, and then popped up to right his last time up. Pulled down to first, and it is 6 no-hit innings in this game for Luis Castillo. Reds lead 1-0, and on this Independence Day, USAA honors those who have served and all of our service members at home and abroad. God bless. Yasiel Puig against Woodruff to begin the bottom of the 6th inning. Dietrich to follow, and then Senzel. It is a 1-0 Cincinnati lead. Puig knocked in the only Reds run. He came up there in the 1st inning with runners at 1st and 3rd and just barely made contact on a roller on the infield grass towards the 3rd baseman Moustakas, and turned into an infield hit and an RBI. He has driven in 6 of the last 7 Cincinnati runs, or scored 6 of the last 7. So he's been right in the middle of everything, either knocking them in or scoring, including all 3 runs last night.
Laying off that last pitch is what has enabled Yasiel Puig to put the ball into play, extended bats until he finally gets a pitch down where he can handle it. And a much more abbreviated left leg lift has helped his timing.
Fastball ran in on his hands there, able to muscle it foul off to the first base side out of play.
Although timing for Brandon Woodruff is all about Powder River. I mean, I'm going to throw it and see if you can get the batter on in time. He has thrown 3 pitches this year at 100 miles per hour, 12 at 99, and over 100 at 98.
broken bat, sounded like. Puig taking a look at it. Sure sounded like, yep, he'll need another one. Gives that one a kiss goodbye. And he's shaking his head because I think that's had some good mojo in it here lately. Now he wants another one now. Watch him. Watch how dejected he is when he knew he broke this thing. Oh, my friend, so good to me. Bad Boy brought him out a tan-colored bat, and he said, no. The black one's been on a roll. And now he's going to look at his bat. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. A hello kiss there. That's sort of like a social thing, right, Chris?
I think so. You know, you be good to your bat is good to you.
Fastball again. Boy, that's a nasty pitch when that gets in on a player's hands, even as strong as Puig.
You know, kind of an interesting story about Brandon Woodruff, really, because a lot of players who get drafted out of high school and then defer to go to college will move up in the draft. Well, it was the opposite, really, for Woodruff. He was drafted 5th round by the Rangers coming out of high school, decided to go to Mississippi State. And, you know, that's a great program. They always seem to be in the postseason and so on. But his years at Mississippi State were not very good at all. In fact, he won 3 games in 3 years. His earned run average his junior year was almost 7. And he dropped down to the 11th round as a prospect. And that's when the Brewers got him. And they held on to him. And slowly but surely he went through their system and got better and better and better. And came into his own last year. He was 3-0 last year at age 25 in 19 games he was in. He only started 4 games last year. He pitched a lot out of the bullpen. But this year it has been all about him being on top of the hill and being top of the rotation.
Well, Chris, they thought so much of him that he was a big part of their pitching in the postseason. I mean,
exactly.
You know, they got him up there and they're like, this guy's on a roll right now. And we're going to use him.
Well, you can see that. I mean, his stuff is postseason stuff.
Yeah.
Strikeouts, weak contact. Go as hard as you can, as long as you can.
That gives him now 6 strikeouts in the game. And, I mean, you look at the postseason numbers. Made 1 start, 3 relief appearances, and that backs up what you're talking about. Look at the strikeouts to walks here. 12 1/3 innings, only gave up 3 runs and punched out 20. Goodness gracious.
17 of those were in 3 games against the Dodgers. Struck out 3 in 3 innings against the Colorado Rockies in the NLDS.
Well, you got to remember they were forced to start him game 1 of the NLDS because they were playing every day the last number of weeks just to get in the playoffs and win their division. Then they had to play a 1-game playoff to win their division. So he started game 1. All right, Castillo back to the mound with a 1-0 lead. All eyes on now Luis Castillo. He's gone through 6 innings of this game without surrendering a single base hit. But at the same time, and far more importantly than any thoughts of what might happen over the next 3 innings, the Reds have just a 1-0 lead in a huge game for the Reds today against the division leading Brewers. That one fouled off. Oh my! That's why they put her down there. That is some kind of play by that young lady. Yeah, she's the one that got it. And she looks at that guy and says, I did all the dirty work here, but you can have it. Nice job. All righty, 2-1 on Moustakas. And it paints the inside corner with a fastball. Struck him out. Foul tipped into the mitt of Castillo. And that's out number 1 here in the 7th inning.
And another changeup, another strikeout on a 2-2 count. Set that up really perfectly with the inside fastball that Moustakas took for strike 2 and then just pulls the string on him.
And a base hit into center field on the very first pitch of the at-bat to Castillo. So the crowd will give Castillo a nice round of applause. 5, 6 1/3 innings of no-hit baseball. Tyler Mahle, the only Reds pitcher to carry a no-hitter into the 7th inning, going back to the start of the 2017 year. He did it in April of last season against Atlanta and lost it to the first batter of that inning, Freddie Freeman. Straight up in the air on the very next pitch. And the wind will send Puig to the wall, or the heat, or whatever it might be. Really not a lot of wind out there, just a lot of carry on a hot day.
Yeah, I wasn't worried about that ball until Puig started drifting back to the warning track and then all the way to the wall. I think you have a little bit of a breeze, more thermals than anything else, and that ball just a hair out on the end of the bat from Eric Thames. This can be a very dangerous place to pitch, very difficult place to pitch. But if you start worrying about it and you become timid around the edges of the strike zone, nibbling, that's when you really run into trouble. And that's one thing that Castillo has not done today, which is nibble.
Well, you just heard some thunder off in the distance, and you know what means comes along with that. And right now we have a little bit of rain starting to fall for the first time all day. They had talked about this possibility. One ball and one strike on Saladino. And now 1-2, Castillo ahead. All right, you know, you put now by the side, Chris, the thought of a no-hitter gets everybody excited. But now it's making sure no runs.
Well, if he stands the form, what he'll probably do 1 out of every 2 pitches here is throw a changeup. And there it is, and he gets a ground ball.
Suarez cuts it loose, inning over. And we're going to keep it right here as we do during day games, but especially today. On the 4th of July, this country founded in 1776, 243 years young, stronger now, more powerful than ever. And a ray of hope for those all over the world, morning, noon, and night. The singing of God Bless America.
Men and women and all our veterans of service, and welcome retired Technical Sergeant Belita LaRocque as she leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains Reds.
All right, Chelsea, thank you so much for your service. Starting to rain harder now. There's some dark clouds, there's some blue skies, there's rays of sunshine, and looking over to Kentucky, it's just a weird looking day right now.
And a lot of people have just stayed in their seat, even though it began to rain a little bit on a hot day like today. It probably felt pretty nice.
Well, Brandon Woodruff is out of the game, Chris, and now taking over is Corbin Burns. We've seen him a couple of times in this series already. Got an off night last night.
Yeah, I think both teams were kind of handcuffed last night. Did not have a lot of arms available. The Reds certainly didn't have everybody available, and the Brewers do. But how about this? Peraza gets it going with a base hit.
Yeah, absolutely. 1-0 game. And Peraza his first hit in 3 at bats. So Castillo is going to bat in a 1-0 game here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And why not? It's a perfect situation. You can use him up here to try and move the runner with a bunt.
Well, remember, you're also down one of the Reds' best relief pitchers, Amir Garrett. He went on the injured list today with a lat problem, so he's lost here for about a week. And the way that, so you really don't have a left-hander. With Zach Duke gone and Wandy Peralta still on the injured list, you want to leave a guy in there who can get left-handers out. I don't think you've got anybody down the bullpen any better at that than Luis Castillo.
And it was Van Meter they brought up, wanting an extra bat. We only have 2 more games until the All-Star break, and the goal is to get Garrett back after what would be, I think, if I figured it right, maybe 1 or 2 games he would miss in Colorado if he's ready to come back. Boy, Castillo, you ask him to go up there and put down a bunt. The first one was foul, and that one he takes right down the middle. 0-2. He has 3 sacrifices on the year. Runner goes. And he bunts it foul for strike 3. And back to first goes Peraza. Of course, Castillo, the lone representative for the Reds on the All-Star team. It's the first time the Reds have only had 1 player since 2009. That had been the 3rd longest streak with multiple All-Stars behind the Yankees. They've had 2 or more every year since '93, and the Cardinals since 2008. The Cardinals streak right now looks like it's going to end as well. Paul DeJong is their only All-Star. And now with Amir Garrett on a shelf, even with some of the changes, Chris, like you talked about yesterday, that you see maybe a day or 2 before the game, no chance now for Amir Garrett. Pop up. 2 down in the inning. Here comes Jesse Winker. He's had a big time day. A double to right center, scored the only run of the game in the first inning on an infield hit by Yasiel Puig. Had a single to center in the 3rd, a single to right in the 5th. And Craig Counsell will come out of his dugout. I would assume that would be Claudio down there, the left-hander, with lefties Winker and Votto coming up, and it will be the left-hander Claudio. So Burns works 2/3, allows a hit and a strikeout. This is our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. Reds lead 1-0 in the 7th. Back in a moment. Is on from the Milwaukee bullpen, Alex Claudio, and the Reds are going to pinch hit for Jesse Winker and bring in Phillip Ervin.
Well, the platoon splits are really dictating that, and you wonder what he's done. Claudio, that is lefty versus righty. I can tell you that right now. He's given up a batting average of .290 to right-handers and only .189 to left-handers. So he handles left-handers very well, Claudio does. That's why Winker is on the bench and Phillip Ervin gets a call.
And if you're wondering about Winker's numbers against left-handers, he's only batting .171 without a single extra base hit against left-handed pitching this year. Not one. And Ervin against right-handed pitching, or left-handed pitching, I beg your pardon, is hitting .429 with a home run, 2 doubles, and a triple. And of course, Irvin got starts in all 3 games against the Cubs last weekend against 3 straight left-handed starters. One ball and 2 strikes. Irvin out of there swinging against Claudio to retire the side. All right, we're off to the 8th. It is still the Reds 1, the Brewers. Our game summary presented by Honda. Winker started off the game with a double. He would eventually get to third after a hit by Votto and scored on an infield single by Yasiel Puig. That has been the only run of the game. Luis Castillo, Chris, has allowed 1 hit the entire day.
I mean, he has just been on top of his game. Boy, on back-to-back games here, the Reds starting pitching has just been dominant.
The Reds haven't had a starting pitchers go 8 or more innings in back-to-back games. Sonny Gray did here last night, 8 innings. Since April the 27th and April the 28th. Jason Marquis, if you can believe that, and then Johnny Cueto behind him. And ironically, those 2 games came against the Milwaukee Brewers, 2015.
Yeah, I would have said Cueto had to be part of that equation.
Yes. Phillip Ervin remains in the game after batting for Winker. And that strike 3 called, and Gamble disagrees. 9 of them now for Castillo.
Feathering that changeup just on the outer part of the plate, and has so much movement on it that it's not really where you catch the pitch. It's if it crosses any part of that plate. A little movement at the very end there, a little frame job by Castillo. I probably think that had nothing to do with the call.
So now it's Orlando Arcia, who has flied to right and bounced to the pitcher. 0-1 delivery. Fastball missed away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Out of play, and now Castillo even sinks up on Arcia.
Arcia just trying to lift something out of the ballpark. You can tell that big swing of his. If you get it up, he'll hit it a long way the other way. You mentioned that earlier, Tom. Good point about him having opposite field power,
especially on the fastball away, up and away. Charging hard is Peraza, and a nice play by Jose to throw out Arcia.
Well, Peraza comes charging hard on this. Remember that he was supposed to be the everyday shortstop here all year long. He's got plenty of defensive skills. And makes a nice pickup and a nice throw to first base.
It's starting to rain harder now than it has at any point during the day. And here is Jesus Aguilar, who has lost his job as a regular player for these Brewers after hitting over 30 home runs with over 100 knocked in last year. Boy, it's really coming down, as you can tell. Hopefully it won't last long. Hopefully a quick passing shower, and see if we can get this final out in and the rest of this game in.
We're not going to get it in.
Doggone it. Here Castillo working on a one-hit shutout, 2 outs into the top of the 8th inning. So it's coming down quite hard right now, and you can only wonder, Chris, how long this approaching storm, which apparently includes lightning, and so they're advising fans to move to the concourse area, obviously for their safety. And from all indications, it doesn't look like it's supposed to be here very long.
Yeah, it doesn't look like much, because I'm almost seeing blue skies out here as we look to the south. Some people came prepared. If I could just figure out how this works.
It looks like the clouds are moving from west. Well, the skies have cleared and we are back to baseball. We are in the top of the 8th inning. Jesus Aguilar is the batter, and to answer your question, the first question you may have had, is Luis Castillo still in the game after 97 pitches and a rain delay? And as you can see, the answer to that question would be no. So he's 7 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, hit 2 batters, and punched out 9. It's David Hernandez.
Not sure what the long-term plan is for David Bell here today. Long-term meaning this inning, the 8th, and then who's going to pitch the 9th. But right now, as David Hernandez has a 2-0 count on Aguilar, and they bring the right-hander in to try to get out of this inning. For Hernandez, it's been a little bit of a rough go the last 3 times out. To me, he looked really tired when he last pitched the first game of this series against the Brewers. Pitched an inning, gave up 3 runs in that game. But hopefully a couple of days off has got the snap back in his fastball, and he'll get this out without a problem.
Luis Castillo's 6th game he's thrown this year, 6 or more innings, 2 or fewer hits allowed. That's the most in one season by a Red ever. No major league pitcher has more than 7 in a year. So here we go, 1-0 game. Reds in front, and Aguilar looks at a first pitch fastball under the knees. Aguilar, incredible power.
From a scoring standpoint, if Aguilar walks, it goes on to the record of Castillo. Anything else goes on to the record of David Hernandez.
And Chris, for those wondering at home, the reason being, as you point out,
well, he inherited a 2-0 count.
2-0 count. If it was ball 1, it would not be charged to Castillo, but with 2 balls, it would be. And so Castillo, after all, is charged with a walk. So put that on him, and are they going to let Aguilar stay in there to run? That is a tying run over there at first base. You look what's available on the Milwaukee bench. They have Lorenzo Cain. They have Ryan Braun. a backup catcher in Pena.
They're trying to get the attention of Bruce Dreckman, home plate umpire, to kind of delay the game a little bit, because Counsell's looking up the runway saying, all right, whoever I told to run, put his cleats on, hurry up.
Well, you'd have thought somebody may have considered that while we were in a rain delay. Is that going to be a backup pitcher or a starting pitcher?
Zach Davies.
Zach Davies will be the pinch runner.
You thought for a minute it was a bat boy, didn't you?
It looked like it. He looks like a bat boy. You're right.
We're not the first ones to say that.
No, he knows that.
Pitches like a very fine big league pitcher.
All right, so now Hernandez walks the first batter he faces, and here is Yasmani Grandal. So now Hernandez ahead at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Weissel Iglesias is just beginning to get loose in the Cincinnati bullpen. Seeing if Hernandez can get this final out in a 1-0 game in the 8th inning. And a foul ball back out of play. Got him swinging to retire to side. So Hernandez picks up the strikeout. Final out of the 8th. Reds have Votto, Suarez, Puig coming up in the bottom of the 8th, looking to add to a 1-0 lead. Rain is cleared. Swing into summer Saturday. Reds and the Indians. Reds Live begins at 3:30 here on Fox Sports Ohio and streaming on Fox Sports Go. Swing into summer. Presented by Click It or Ticket. Junior Guerra will come on to pitch. Saw him a couple of nights ago, an inning and 2/3. Walked a batter, no hits, no runs. We've seen him in the past as both a reliever and a starter.
Sure would take a lot of the drama out of the top of the 9th inning if the Reds could push 1 or 2 across right here.
Votto in his career 3 of 17, including a home run off Guerra, and that one 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Guerra was the starter for 26 games last year. This year only a reliever, but his fastball has played up almost 2 miles an hour between being a starter and this year when he's been used in short spurts.
Three and 1. And Votto draws a walk to begin the bottom of the 8th inning. Well, make Great American Ballpark your family day destination. Final day before the All-Star break is this Sunday. Kids 14 and younger get an Eugenio Suarez Fathead thanks to NOCO. For tickets, visit Reds.com/150.
I remember what happened with Suarez last night. He was up 3 times, came up looking at that 4th at bat, having had 3 consecutive strikeouts, and then laced a double down the left field line. He's 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts right now.
Incredible numbers for Suarez against his pitcher Guerra. A .500 batter. 6 for 12 with 2 homers, 4 doubles. Trying to collect some more of those kind of numbers here. Well, what a difference it would be, as we mentioned in the game last night in the bottom of the 8th inning, when the Reds got to that second run ahead 1-0 in the 7th. They got the 3rd run to go ahead 3-0 in the 8th. And Gibby Iglesias, who wound up with a save, a little more room to breathe out there. 1 ball, 1 strike on Suarez. 1-2. And a ground ball down to 3rd base. There's one, and they'll turn the double play. All right, so Guerra gets the better of Suarez this time. And here comes Yasiel Puig, 1 for 6 in his career against Guerra. Reds 1, Brewers 0. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. And Yasiel Puig waiting from Guerra. Fastball runs way inside. Puig in the game, 1 of 3. Knocked in the only run with an infield single. A roller on the infield grass that enabled Jesse Winker to come down the line and score from 3rd base. We told you Puig has either knocked in or scored 6 of the last 7 Cincinnati Reds runs.
Well, every ball that he has hit hard has been out over the plate. I mean, he has laced it. They remind me of George Foster line drive home runs when he gets them. And that's why the Brewers here today have done nothing but pound the inside of the strike zone. Trying to make sure he doesn't get his arms extended and the bat head on the ball.
And a jam shot. Just missed that second base bag. All right, here we go, boys and girls. Raisel Iglesias appears to be ready to come on. And he'll face Yelich, Moustakas, and Hira with a 1-0 lead in the 9th. 8 innings and great changes. Raisel Iglesias in it short. Peraza moves over to second base, and on the mound, trying to close it out, Raisel Iglesias. And he is getting the very best, or nearly the best, the Brewers have to offer. Ball 1 to Christian Yelich. And it's 2 balls and no strikes. StatCast AI powered by AWS Brace chart on Yelich.
Now this is what you're looking at as far as ground balls. This has nothing to do with fly balls, so it's only about infield configuration. And Yelich is not thinking about a ground ball right now.
Iglesias 15 of 17 in save situations so far this year. Here's a 2-1. And now 2 balls and 2 strikes. And now 3-2.
Good looking pitch right there. Iglesias has more than one weapon to try to get a hitter like Yelich out. One is a fastball. He can run up to about 97. One is his changeup that goes down and away. And the last one you just saw was a slider. Just barely missed down and in.
3-2 on the way. And it's lined hard into right center. Puig will not get it. And the ball will die, which will not give Puig a chance to throw out Yelich, who doubles to begin the Milwaukee ninth.
Looked like he tried to go with the changeup and had to come in there with a strike on a 3-2 count. Yelich is on base for the second time, the first hit today. Right on the barrel.
Iglesias has seen Moustakas a couple of times in this series, and both times Moustakas hit ground balls to third base, which is certainly not his MO. But with a big defensive alignment to the pull side, it is strike one. You have Hira due up next. The difference between being 5.5 games out of first place and being 3.5 games out of first place. That's what's on the line here today. And Iglesias ahead of Moustakas, 0-2.
Boy, I love the way Iglesias is just coming right after him. Hard stuff right under the hands.
Yelich had a big lead out there. I mean, Iglesias is trying to, move around, keep him closer and closer. Called foul. I'm going to tell you what now, you can just see it from up here that Yelich, with each passing pitch, is getting a little more confident. Do you think he would do it? Hey, you're talking about a guy who is 19 out of 20 in stolen base attempts this year.
But you consider everything involved here. How far is the second baseman or the shortstop Iglesias from second base, and how far is Suarez from third? It'd be a tough play to hit Suarez on the run and have him put a tag on the runner.
0-2 on Moustakas. Oh, he left one over the plate that time. I mean, that was center cut, a little bit up in the strike zone in 95. Once more, the 0-2 on Moustakas. And here it is. Oh, what a play by Castillo. That is a big-time block on a pitch in the dirt, preventing the runner from advancing by Curt Castillo.
Well, a changeup right there. You want to keep it down, definitely, but get your body over there. You lean forward with your torso. The ball comes up and hits you in the chest protector, falls harmlessly right in front of you. So it's been all fastballs until that changeup. You think that Iglesias may go back to the heat? Could really use a strikeout.
Pull to the right side, and Moustakas hanging around. Seventh pitch in this at bat coming up. And now meeting on the mound, Castillo and Iglesias, and Iglesias coming in. One ball, two strikes on Moustakas. Yelich a tying run. Straight up in the air. Long run for Suarez. Coming on hard, Irvin. And did he get it? He made the play! What a play by Phillip Irvin! Oh my goodness! That is a spectacular play made by Irvin. Full speed and into the wall, and the focus to get it in traffic.
Well, it was on the spectator side of the wall right there. I mean, he was right in traffic, as you said, and that's open game. The spectators can come up and grab the glove. They can grab the ball. They can do whatever they want as long as that ball is not over the field of play. And that is a great catch, especially considering the circumstances.
Of course, he was a left fielder on that interference call. That was a huge play with Anthony Rizzo at the plate during the Chicago series. All right. Tying run still out there at second base. One out in the inning, and here's Hira. This guy can hit. And a ground ball at the second baseman. They'll let Yelich go to third, but now one more out to go. A lot of the crowd has stayed around. A little buzz back in the air after the Reds lost the 4 games in a row, came back home, beat the Cubs 2 out of 3. They lost the first game to Milwaukee, won the next 2, and now a 1-0 lead in the 9th inning with a tying run 90 feet away. Eric Thames digging in. Ball 1. And Yelich has an enormous lead at third base. With Suarez, because of the defensive shift for the left-handed batting Thames, Suarez is 35 feet away from Yelich. Straight up in the air. And the Reds on the 4th of July are 3.5 games out of first place. Sonny Gray, Raisel Iglesias combined on a 4-hit shutout last night. It is Luis Castillo, David Hernandez, and Raisel Iglesias combining on a 2-hit shutout today. And Chris, they might be 3 games under 500, but brother, they're 3.5 games out of first place in the Central.
They're right now they're feeling like they're first place ball club, just the way they're going about their business, taking care of business. They've had in back-to-back series the Chicago Cubs and the Brewers in this ballpark, and they've taken each of these series, this one in a very demonstrative way, taking 3 out of 4 with an off day tomorrow and coming back for the Indians on the weekend.
If you can believe this, Reds pitching, they held the Brewers scoreless the final 23 innings of this series. 23 innings. Man, is this pitching something else. All right, Reds win by a final count of 1-0. Back with more in a moment.